I'm assuming that y'all have never been Trump lawyers, Mr. Trusty or Mr. Costello.
No, I was for a year.
Oh, you were? And you still have your bar card?
I'm sorry?
You still have your bar card?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm honestly losing track of all of these absolute zingers, folks, because it has been a rough week for Republicans, and it's only Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Which is how I can only assume frustrated Republicans sound right now. From Donald Trump continuing to get mocked by the media.
Defendant's chair, head tilted back to the right, eyes closed, made it look like a trial at a nursing home. If he were found like that in his chair at a table in the nursing home during lunch, he would be immediately checked for signs of life.
And Jim McGovern.
Reserves, the gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, the gentleman keeps on talking about crime in D.C., crime on the rise. I can tell you one thing, crime is definitely down in the White House right now.
To Biden pretty much already winning his and Trump's now solidified debate with this quip.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
To the Diaper King getting exposed for sicking his sycophant dogs on the court to violate his gag order for him while they flat out deny it.
Speaker Johnson, did the former president ask you to go and defend him in New York today?
He did not. I went on my own volition. It was my idea.
And Willie, for the guy who's second in line to be president of the United States, this is really demeaning. It's demeaning for him to be craven, to go into that courthouse. If he doesn't think, and I've said I didn't think this trial should be, I don't think this trial should have been brought. I've always said that. All right, he could say that as Speaker of the House, but to be dragged into a courtroom in Manhattan, to be a sycophant to Donald Trump, a guy who has promised to be an authoritarian leader when he gets in power, really, it's deeply depressing and it's beneath the dignity of the office.
It's been a bad week. Also, maybe if you're gonna lie about being Trump's lapdog, don't all dress up exactly like him while you're doing it. And on top of all that, we had that first altercation that you saw a snippet of earlier, where rising Democratic star Jasmine Crockett absolutely humiliates former Trump lawyer Jim Trusty to his face during today's House Committee of the Weaponization of the Federal Government hearing, of which I will happily show you the beautiful, if brutal, full context right now.
I was curious to know, as we're talking about lawyers and the obligations of lawyers, and whether or not maybe the former president has any idea of what good lawyer obligations look like. I'm just gonna ask, we're not gonna play, we're gonna do Miss Winebanks. Have you heard of any of these lawyers? I've got Robert Cheeley, Kenneth Chesborough, Jeffrey Clark, Matthew DePerno, John Eastman, Jenna Ellis, Michael Farino, Rudy Giuliani, Julia Halia. I got a long list. Have you heard of any of these people?
I have.
Are you aware as to whether or not any of them have faced criminal penalties?
Yes, and also been disbarred or suspended.
Oh yeah, okay. So they've had some issues, but these are the hand-picked lawyers for Trump. I'm assuming that y'all have never been Trump lawyers, Mr. Trusty or Mr. Costello.
No, I was for a year.
Oh, you were, and you still have your bar card?
I'm sorry?
You still have your bar card?
Yeah, well, unless I get targeted for daring to represent a former president.
You have absolutely done a lot better than most that deal with him. So good for you.
Standing ovation, round of applause, and please let me know in the comments which zinger so far you think takes the cake. Is it you still have your bar card, or I hear you're free on Wednesdays? Now you may be asking yourself, like I was earlier this week, House Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government? That sounds simultaneously Orwellian and like a load of crap. And I assure you, it's both. Which is why even its own ranking members have nothing but disdain for the entire process.
We're here because Donald Trump knows that the evidence against him is plentiful and that the testimony of his literal, as my teenage daughter says, literal partner in crime, in this case, is harmful to his criminal defense and his political prospects. It's not that complicated. The truth hurts. And here's one. We all know that the former president exacts loyalty from all of his followers, and especially GOP officials and those that work for him. Blind loyalty. And this case is no different. Many of them have hightailed it to New York City to show him that they are with him and standing with Donald Trump. Trump, in turn, demands that every Republican official serve him like the incorrigible, degenerate, spoiled brat that he is, and use their positions to aid his criminal defense. And even after the embarrassment of recent hearings today, Donald Trump and his cronies don't think that the chairman is doing enough. We're here today simply because Donald Trump's sycophants have been taunting the members of this committee on the GOP side and judiciary Republicans for not doing anything tangible to defend Trump against our judicial system.
That was Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, absolutely eviscerating the committee's Republican members and calling them out for, in her own words, making this committee an arm of the Trump campaign.
We're here at the beck and call of Trump fanatics and talking heads on cable and internet talk shows in the MAGA world who, like Bartiromo and Bannon, have goaded this committee to act. Because the purpose of this select committee is in fact to be an arm of the Trump campaign and take his orders. And yes, we know your mad things are not going your way. Republicans are upset because the Justice Department has determined that it must prosecute Donald Trump because the allegations against President Biden amount to nothing, both at the Justice Department and even in this chamber in the House, by the very committees Republicans created to investigate President Biden.
Damn, not only does she get them with the truth of being straight up lackeys of a wannabe dictator, she also had to hit them with the failure of their own attempts to weaponize the government against Joe Biden. And I have a bit more of her for you because her closing statements absolutely shut down both Trump and the MAGA Republicans, and they are so cathartic to hear.
Trump is charged in these cases because there is sufficient evidence to reasonably believe that he committed almost 100 serious crimes. In this country, no one should be above the law. So just for a little legal lesson, I strongly suspect the defendant may be watching, or his minions, or others. No, Donald, even a president can't shoot someone on Fifth Avenue in broad daylight and get away with it. That's not gonna happen. To my Republican counterparts in the majority, you claim that you wanna fight a weaponized executive branch. You do so by calling in far-right witnesses to spew conspiracies about a deep state, or by calling witnesses who have testified under oath that they literally are missing parts of their brain, and another who self-identified as a time traveler from Canada. That, my friends, is the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. To be the party of law enforcement and be led by a man currently facing 100 serious charges.
Well, why don't we shut the committee down right now? I mean, damn. Can we get this woman a Nobel Prize or something? And if she's getting one, Jasmine Crockett might as well be runner-up because she managed to keep her composure and still deliver some serious sass to this next guy who is an absolute brat and one of the ringleaders of Trump's authoritarian manifesto, Project 2025.
Let's see, you're the executive director for the America First Legal, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and America First Legal is a member of Project 2025, which is dedicated to creating the playbook for the next conservative administration and what it calls the Project Pillars, correct?
We are proud contributors to Project 2025.
Okay, and are you familiar with Project 2025's mandate for leadership?
In fact, I am.
Okay. And in fact, you wrote some of the sections of this mandate related to the DOJ, correct?
Sure did.
God, this guy is such a smug little prick. If I was Donald Trump, I'd probably say I want to smack him in the face.
Honestly, I hate to see that. Here's a guy throwing punches, nasty as hell, screaming at everything else when we're talking. And he's walking out, and we're not allowed, you know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing, like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
And the mandate outlines policy priorities for the next conservative president. Is that correct?
It does.
You've done a great job. I just want to let you know. All right, so let's walk through some of the provisions of the mandate. It calls for eliminating the Department of Education, eliminating the Department of Commerce, deploying the military for the use of domestic law enforcement against protesters under the Insurrection Act of 1807. It also has the repealing of Schedule F status for thousands of federal employees to allow a president to replace career civil servants with unqualified partisan loyalists. That's probably my favorite of it. It also prohibits the FBI from combating the spread of misinformation and disinformation, like Russia and China, who are actively trying to interfere with American elections. I don't know why or how anybody can support Project 2025. And I know that there was allegedly a joke about dictators and whether or not that's funny, but in the United States of America, dictatorships are never funny, and Project 2025 is giving the playbook for authoritarianism as well as the next dictator to come in. And I know that you are doing your jobs here by making sure that hopefully some juror turns on and finds some viral moment of you spewing more of the nonsense as it relates to the president.
Exactly. Dictators are never funny in this country because we were founded on the idea that no man should be above the law, even if he's a former president, and especially if he's a diaper-defiling lunatic. And we'll end here with one last clip of Robert De Niro criticizing Trump and offering him a new slogan in a quintessentially De Niro fashion.
He's done everything. What more do you need? It's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country to with us. His slogan should be America. I want to America.
And you know what? I think he's onto something there because Trump and his minions in the government don't want to help Americans at all. Thanks for watching, folks. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out our Patreon to support the channel. We cannot do this without you all, and we greatly appreciate your support. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.